is John Shipton. He's the father of Julian Assange. Julian remains a political prisoner facing deportation to the US and a 175-year sentence for exposing unpunished war crimes. I had the pleasure of meeting John in December 2016 in London, just near the Ecuadorian embassy where he had been visiting Julian. I was impressed by his stoic, love-fueled commitment to advocating for his son's freedom, but also how he never lost sight of the greater struggle for democracy, for press freedom, for justice, and our right to know of war crimes committed in our name. John has just returned from London, where he attended the marriage of his son Julian Assange to Stella Morris at Belmarsh Prison. He will be speaking at the Brisbane screening of a new film called Ithaca, which is at View Farm Cinema on Monday night at 6:30 p.m. I believe tickets are still available. The film documents the campaign for Julian's freedom over many long years. Please welcome John.
Hi. Look, oh dear. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the warm Queensland welcome. Warm in both ways. So, New Farm tomorrow night, 6:30, Ithaca. It's a film made by Gabriel, Julian's brother, about the fight for Julian's freedom. Please come along. The other thing is that Palm Sunday is the symbol of Christ, the Christ figure, that's all of us, entering Jerusalem, which is the symbol for freedom. The only way you can enter Jerusalem is on a donkey, that is, without pride. So Julian brings with his life and work the promise of Prometheus Unbound. Prometheus Unbound, in a short form, is the only way to freedom is through knowledge. WikiLeaks and Julian brought knowledge that enabled us to see the crimes of the United States and its allies in Iraq, the crimes of the United States and its allies in Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Guantanamo Bay, in the Chagos Islands. Now, that's in the negative. In the positive, one of the cables, in the cable release, this is really important and heartening. One of the cables described a circumstance where an American squad had gone into a house just outside Baghdad in Iraq and murdered all of the occupants, the mum and dad and the uncles and aunties and the children. Contemplating this crime, they called in an airstrike on that house, and the airstrike obliterated from the earth forever all evidence of that family. Gone. This cable was published by WikiLeaks and read by the parliamentarians and institutions of Iraq. As you know, Iraq was a destroyed country after the invasion. However, through a miracle of courage, they gathered together their courage and refused the United States to sign the Status of Forces Agreement. Consequently, all of the troops of the United States and its allies had to be removed from Iraq, bringing on one cable, one leak, an end to a heinous war which had killed about 1 million human beings, and according to Brown University's study, created in the Middle East over a 20-year period, 36 million refugees. Refugees, the word means that people who have had their communities destroyed and wander the earth looking for succour, welcome, and a moment of peace. Keep that in mind. A leak brought an end to a war. There were 95,000 of those cables, and many of them have been utilised. I can give you lots of examples, but one will do, and that one is probably the most compelling. Lastly, tomorrow Julian will have been in arbitrary detention for the beginning of the 14th year tomorrow. This is declared by the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention, February 2018, February 2018. The United Kingdom had objected to that conclusion and declaration of the United Nations, and their objections were rebuffed and failed. So that's the exterior boundary of the persecution of Australian citizen Julian Assange. The interior of that persecution of that 14 years is described by Professor Nils Melzer, the rapporteur on torture and unusual punishment, examined Julian in Belmarsh Jail, 2019, I think April, with two experts, doctors, who have devoted their lives to healing those who have undergone psychological torture and other tortures, accompanied Nils Melzer into the jail and examined Julian and came to the conclusion the interior of those 14 years consisted of unending mobbing, psychological torture, smearing, and an endless procedural irregularities in his treatment by the Crown Prosecuting Service, the Swedish Prosecuting Authority, the judges. That's the interior. So the gifts that Julian brought to us are multifarious and great. And you being here today is a gift given to Julian. Just all you have to do is think a kind thought towards him, and it gathers into a wave. Now, you might think I'm being a little hippie here. I am not. We started 3 years ago with two parliamentarians, magnificent men, Peter Whish-Wilson and Andrew Wilkie. Now there are 30. In Greece Parliament, there are 300 in total, 92 of them support Julian Assange. The French National Assembly last month gave over an hour of its time to debating whether to give Julian asylum in France. Mélenchon, one of the front runners in the French election, which is on this month, part of his platform is asylum in France for Julian Assange. The same in Germany, the same in Oslo, the same in Brazil, the same in Argentina, the same in Chile. The Mexican president made a statement saying that Julian ought to be freed and compensated. We're not alone. And you being here symbolizes the worldwide movement of many, many people. Another positive aspect, which was quick, is that the concerns of the citizenry, of us, stimulate the parliamentarians. 29 of them represent us and our concerns, and they take that into Parliament. In the majesty of Parliament, its sovereign majesty, they approach the executive and instruct the executive to obey our concerns. And this is happening as we here today on this Palm Sunday speak. If I may finish with a poem. It's the last few lines of Shelley's Prometheus Unbound, keeping in mind that the only way to freedom is through knowledge. To suffer woes which hope thinks infinite, to forgive wrongs darker than death or night, to defy power which seems omnipotent, to love and to bear and to hope until hope creates from its own wreckage the thing it contemplates, neither to change nor falter nor repent. This, like thy glory, Titan, is to be good, great and joyous, beautiful and free. This alone life, joy, empire and victory. Thank you.